from Australia. I'm so glad you're here. From Fictionary, yes. Christina Stanley and I have known each other since the beginning, and Fictionary was the original AI, story analyzer. But everybody was afraid to say artificial intelligence when that happened. So, when she was doing it. So it was just sort of this magical thing she was doing to analyze the stories. And now everybody's embracing AI. So that's kind of fun. Uh, okay. And I know more people are coming. So welcome. Welcome. It is, what is it? January 23rd. January has gone by so quickly. And we all have our goals and our aspiration and our intentions. Some of us meant to publish last year. And when you looked into it, you figured out, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Listen, you can publish a book and put it up on Amazon tomorrow, but that's not what we're talking about here. So I'm going to talk to you about a little bit about me, and then I'm going to ask you about you, and then we're going to go over this publishing compass so that I can maybe talk through and answer any questions about the roadmap. So yes, and I'd like to talk about a little bit of AI magic and also about the value of working in community. So I'd love to know who you are. If you're a fiction author, a nonfiction author. Sarah, I know you're a nonfiction author and an author assistant, a publishing pro. Some of you are a couple of different things. And custom and hybrid publishers have been consulting with me to help develop their programs, because the whole hybrid and custom publishing arena and assisted publishing is kind of confusing. And many people are calling themselves publishers and hybrid publishers when really they're assisted publishers, assistants, or providing an assisted publishing service, or just a custom publishing service. And those are all totally legitimate. But the thing that I'm coming up against more and more is that authors don't know how to hire somebody. They don't know what questions to ask. Maybe you don't know, like somebody says they're a publisher. I had one prominent author I helped last year who said, who came to me a month before launch, and she said, oh my gosh, I think I'm in trouble. And her publisher was actually an author assistant who only knew how to publish on Amazon. And she needed wide distribution with Ingram Spark. And it was very stressful at the last minute. She was very successful, but it was incredibly stressful. And I like to tell people that because just an investment, a few $100s in a consult or an educational program could have saved her probably $2,500 or $3,000 of one-on-one consulting with me, and a lot of scramble activities. And so I'm glad you're here and investing at least the time right now to figure that out. So what we're doing for those of you who've come in is, who are you? What are you writing? What is your publishing role? Publishing services, that's a really great, yes, publishing services is very clear. Memoir, Sushila, did you get to me through Linda Joy Myers at the National Association for Memoir Writers? I'm also doing craft classes with her this year because I'm a memoir person as well. So good to have you here. Memoirs are, yeah, fun, a tangle, right? A memoir isn't an autobiography, it's a slice of life, right? So I'm talking about that in the memoir class. So join me there and ask me about that later if you need to. So a little bit more about me. Actually, I self-published my first book in 1995, very early. And, since then I was a tech writer, and I got very involved in the book industry technology when it came out. I was fascinated at Smashwords, which is now owned by Giraffe to Digital, and by the Amazon ebooks. And they created ebooks, and then they had to create KDP to deliver books to the ebooks, right? So they created the hardware. And it was just a mess then. And there's about 50, maybe 70 legacy ebook formats that you might notice if you're uploading to Ingram Spark. It'll say ebook format, and it'll have all these weird acronyms, and you just want to say EPUB or ebook, right? Now you don't even have to say Kindle format or AWZ format, which used to be Kindle. But I used to write about that for PBS, a column called Media Shift, and I wrote about self-publishing technology, and also ran self-publishing boot camps here in the Bay Area and up in Portland, where my sister lives. And that was super fun because those were in real life events. And I had Mark Coker and the Book Baby people and all the real people come and talk to a room full of 100 people about their technologies and how to publish. I also started the self-publishing and technology track for the San Francisco Writers Conference long ago. Now it's integrated. A couple of years ago, we decided to just integrate it into every panel, right? Instead of having a separate self-publishing panel, right? Or technology track. And that's really how the world works today. I even partnered with a website builder, Author Friendly, which is also the name of my custom publishing solution. And I had the Author Friendly podcast with some people who are still in the industry, and it's still on YouTube, and you can find them. And a lot of the speakers, what they're saying is still true today. Certainly Fictionary and Robin Cutler, who's no longer with Ingram Spark, but what she has to say is just very wise about distribution. And of course, I've written 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 books if you count all the editions of my self-publishing guide, I think it's 9 books on self-publishing. So I hope you'll trust me in that arena. I got my start in travel writing. My first book was Cycling the French Riviera, little guidebook. And then I was in a lot of anthologies, created a anthology. And now this is a big tip for all of you authors and a lot of you author assistants and publishing consultants, is you can help your authors either get into anthologies, right? Identify anthologies. And for the VAs here, the virtual assistants who are looking to serve authors and to know how to serve authors by finding book awards and just helping them with some technologies, helping them get into anthologies or even creating anthologies is a really wonderful thing for you to offer. And I do, in my Publishing Compass program, have a publishing professionals track that teaches you how to do that kind of thing. Also to market yourself as a publishing pro and to serve authors as best that they can be. And these top 3 are my books. I'm just redoing the cover, and I used AI and Canva to draft these covers. It was super fun. We'll go over, I love doing that. But I got my start in motorcycle adventure travel writing. I blogged. My blog, American Borders, is the oldest real-time travelogue on the internet. And they didn't even call it blogs yet until a few years later, weblogs. It was real-time dispatches. It was super fun. So that's my background, and I want to make sure, and I integrate all that into my programs. So I'm doing it at the same time you are, and I'm teaching it as well. So does everybody have their roadmap? Let me put it in there it is in the chat. You can go grab it. You don't need it now. We're gonna look at it together. Just for 50, after this for just a few minutes. But the journey does pretty much take a year if you're doing it right. I mean, if you have a final draft, really an edited final draft, it can take a shorter amount of time. But my approach is to do the marketing at the same time you're finishing your book. It makes it a lot more fun and you're much more energized. So I hope you look at that roadmap. It'll give you an idea of the kinds of tasks that I recommend authors do along the way and the kind of a rough timeline of how you do it. You can also identify your publicity opportunities in that way while you're doing it, because I want you to be the Energizer Bunny. I wanted you to keep your energy going. And I don't, after your book is done, I don't want you to go, oh, how many of you have done this? Oh, now my book is done and I have to market it. And so now what do I do? And when you do it that way, you're bombarding people because who don't know you and you're feeling stressed when you're doing the connections, when you're creating connections during your author journey. You are making friends who are going to be happy to promote your book when it's done. And influencers, especially, it is very, very important to nurture them, find them, and nurture them early. So that comes with positioning your book, which means, looking at the genre you really fit into. And if you don't fit into one or two genres, if you're crossing 5 genres, you're probably going to need to rethink your book a little bit. So this is where an editor was coming in, Rose shaking her head. She's like, yep. So, we have a book in our head and we write it. It's like, you write it and it's there. And then you're like, okay, where does it fit? If you can, look at the genres before you quite finish and commit yourself to that. And that way, when you're doing all this, you can have a website and an email list and a brand. You can tell if if everybody in your genre is purple and pink or orange and black or blue and green. You'd want to look like an author who fits into that category. So, when you launch your book, it's all going to be lined up. And that's what this publishing roadmap is all about, is getting you on the right track. And this is a gift to your future self, right? So think of it as, okay, I'm doing this now. Elizabeth Gilbert once said about, I think, editing, or I can't remember what she was talking about, a writing task that she would like to do. She's like, it's just brushing my teeth. It's a gift to my future self, so I don't have to get dental work done later, right? So she's building, you're building momentum, you're positioning your book, and you really, I just feel so bad for authors who are rushing into last minute publishing, because it's not fun. And that needs to be a super fun event for you, is when you finish your book and people expect it and are behind you and are helping you promote. Some of that requires publishing short pieces. And if you're writing a book right now, you already have a bunch of short pieces. You got all these chapters that can be turned into articles and short stories and blog posts and Substacks or Medium posts or wherever you want to be. I wrote this. I tried this with myself. You see on the left here, how to use ChatGPT to plan, draft, and publish a blog post every week for a year. That has been my most popular blog post, I think, ever for writers, because I did it on my Chat GPT, and I shared my Chat GPT in this blog post, so that you can tell how to talk to AI through my experimentation. I show you kind of all the mistakes that I made and asking it questions, and it's correcting me and going, but wait, step back a minute. What do you want to do with your blog? Who's your audience and all of that? So please look at that. I'm going to share these slides with you, and they have the links embedded in them. Okay. And Portia, Linda Joy Myers and you ask, how do you position a memoir? I haven't found any others that are like mine in very many ways. And we talk about this in a very different, in my craft class that's coming up with Linda Joy Myers, called The Birth of a Memoir. And that helps you figure out what your memoir is going to be about, where it belongs, and who the audience is, as well as the craft writing. If you go to my YouTube, you can also find a video I just did last week with Linda Joy called So You Want to Write a Memoir. So starting a blog is actually a fun thing to do, or I hope. So this is to answer your question, Portia. Positioning is doing the research to find the other writers like you. You want to connect with the other authors like you. You want to be reading books like yours. And if you can't find them, you can use Amazon Advanced Search. But I love Publisher Rocket, and this rocket icon is a hot link when you get this to an article that I wrote about how to use Publisher Rocket. So go ahead and click on that later, and that will help you figure out who your not, I don't like to say competition is, but who your comparables are. Because as you know, everybody who likes World War II history books, they don't just buy one World War II history book, they buy all the World War II history books, they buy all the travelogues, they buy all of it, so it's comparables, not competition. And authors are uniquely, we have the ability to help each other and help ourselves at the same time. And that's what you want. Okay. This market research, you can also look at branding, and this is in the publishing roadmap as well. You can see what they're publishing, what their website looks like, where they're blogging, what they're saying in their newsletters, what they're saying on Blue Sky. Are they on Blue Sky or are they on Twitter X? Are they on Instagram or are they on Facebook? What do they share? How often, and how do they talk to their fans? So creating that brand, it can be a fun process over 6 months or a year. If you have one, you might want to revisit it. The websites are so much easier and more fun these days, and have fun and be able to connect with influencers. The thing about influencers is that you can find them once you do your book positioning and your market research. You can also figure out where they're promoting and make a list for your book launch plan, right? What podcasts are they on? What blogs have they been on? Who's interviewed them? Where do they go to conferences, right? Follow and make a list of who you're going to send your advanced reader copies to, and reach out early and be a friendly voice and a helpful voice. So you don't have to walk in, when your book is finished and go, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. Here's my book. Here's my book." It's like, you don't act like that at a party where you don't know anybody. You go in and you say hi to the host, the influencer who invited you, talk with other people, find out about them, and let them ask about you, right? If you're saying smart things and interesting things, and they'll be interested in you. And that's an organic way to attract influencers. In real life, how many of you love in real life events? I've sold many, many, many more books at in real life events than I have on Amazon or on online. When I go to a motorcycle conference, a rally, or a travel conference, or a writer's conference, I bring a stack of books with me. And especially at travel and motorcycle and outdoor overland events, I can sell 1,000 books, at $20 a pop. How much money is that? That's a lot of money. That's a lot more than you're going to get on Amazon. And so I'm going to show you my Publishing Compass program soon, after we go over the roadmap. And in that program, I like to help authors figure out when they're going to use POD, and also combine it with the offset print vendor who can send you books for much cheaper than what it costs by ordering them from Amazon or from Ingram Spark. Okay, so you don't have to do this alone. You can write, market, build your platform, keep writing, share your writing with a blog and magazines, build community, find influencers, and keep writing and launch with energy. And that is what I'm doing in my yourpublishingcompass.com program, with a publishing course that's every other week instead of every week. So you don't get completely saturated and your mind doesn't go, numb after 6 weeks. And twice a month, group coaching for the entire year in a community. So you don't have to do it alone. All right. So that is my pitch for my program. I priced it at $495 for the entire year for authors and $695 for the entire year for publishing professionals. I want you all in Australia and New Zealand and Canada. I mean, the dollar is like $1 is like $1.50, in where you live, and it's just really prohibitive. And I also wanted to reach fiction authors who may not have as much money as an author who is writing a business book to create business, right? I've been working with a lot of those, like a financial advisor who wrote a book about Bitcoin so he could get more business being a financial advisor, right? So that was an investment book and not a making money book. It actually made him a lot of money, and he was on 1 million podcasts and still is. So that's that. I am going to just bring Betty. I'm going to stop this share, and then we're going to go to the roadmap. Let's see. Here it is. Good. Are you seeing this? Good. Are you seeing the roadmap? Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. So, I have this information at the top that has a few, like imprint name and all that. I do want to say that if you really can't afford $495 for the whole year, and you want to know how to publish, buy my publishing workbook for $24.97. It has a tracker and it has all these ISBN things, items and checklists in it that will help you on your journey. And all of my students in the Publishing Compass program get this workbook in an ebook format. I'm not sending out physical books because, Canada, US, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, I think you can just buy the book. Okay. And it's a wonderful write-in book. It's big and you can just scribble all over it. I wanted to include quarterly goals. This is all placeholder information for you, right? So this is just idea generating, and it's got very little in it, really. There's a lot more to, there are a lot more steps than there are weeks in the year. So the 52 weeks is a more of a skeleton. This is an example roadmap. I do have your Publishing Compass links in here for when the classes are. I want you to start sending you change the dates as you need to. Send your draft to an editor, right? Or maybe you want to join Fictionary and start doing the story edit there. All kinds of things you can do. Maybe you want to give it to your writers group or form a writers group. Maybe you don't have, editing is probably the most expensive thing, task. It's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to get a good editor if you want a commercially viable book. Now, some of us, I want to stress, you have to look at your goals here, right? Do you want a commercially viable book? Or are you leaving a legacy book for a family who's naturally interested in, your story because it has to do with their heritage? Or is this a book that everybody in the world is going to want to, who is interested in this topic is going to want to read? I want you to do pre-orders on I want you to upload pre-orders because when you upload a pre-order via Ingram Spark or Draft2Digital or Amazon KDP, right, or all three, you can you can sell your book before it's finished. And all you need is the book trim size, your book cover, your metadata, your description, all that. And you can start selling even before the book is done, up to a year before. And when you launch your book, boom, all those sales on some stores get credited and you've got that bestseller badge, right? So that's kind of cool. So that's what pre-orders do. If you want trade reviews, say you want to publish your book in November in time for the holiday market. Now, here's what a lot of authors don't know. They upload their book on November 15th, and their book doesn't get published for the holiday market because Amazon, maybe on Amazon, but Ingram Spark and Draft, they're all backed up because everybody wants their book published for the holiday market, especially if you want to get those print proofs. It's very difficult. And especially if you get something wrong, like you'll get some error that says your ICCC profile makes your cover unacceptable. And you're like, what? What is that even? And so you've got to fix that and resubmit it. And then it takes another week to process. And God forbid you have another error, because that's going to be a whole nother week. Right. So I want you to do things early. Now, trade reviews, if you want a review that in a magazine or a website that bookstores and librarians look at, you're going to have to give your finished book to the trade reviewers in June or July. So your book has got to be finished in May and edited and cover and everything. So these are there are a lot more really kind of sneaky things that happen in publishing that I don't want you to I just don't want you to get caught in those, because it's just heartbreaking to see that happening. All right, so I'm going to take a few questions here. If you have any, just put them in the chat, and then I'll go on to my program. Yes, you can email me. You can reply to any of my emails. You probably got my email, right? So it is 1:30 exactly. I'm so proud of myself. I'm totally on track. And I'm going to quickly just go over this. Now, some of you are in this program already, and I'm going to give you a little look at the inside. Oops, welcome and tour. So the first class session starts next week on January 30th. And you can look at this, yourpublishingcompass.com, and it just tells you everything. We are going to be working on AI a lot for marketing, as well as maybe outlining your book. It's so handy, especially for creating, analyzing other books like yours and creating metadata book descriptions. I'm getting all these great bonuses at no more cost to you. Lawrence O'Brien at Books Go Social, he gave me access to all of his writing and book marketing training. And it's like over $1,000 worth of training here. And not only that, and this is what I love about what I do, is I love connecting with these people. Now, he wants you to go, use Books Go Social for your social media stuff. And so it behooves him to share this with my audience. And he's very, Books Go Social is wonderful, and they're very good at social media. And so these lessons about social media and what happens and which ones, what's different about each of them are invaluable, whether or not you use Books Go Social or not. He also gave me, he runs the Dublin Book Festival, and he also gave me a bunch of craft sessions to share with you. And so that's really cool. I love that. You publishing professionals, I belong to the American Society of Journalists and Authors to the Publishing Professionals Network, which is a San Francisco Bay Area organization, the Independent Book Publishers Association here in the US, and the Alliance of Independent Authors, which is global, but it's based in London. And so you publishing professionals, I'll help you choose, which organizations you might want to pay for that will help you. So here's the role. I did put a 14-day guarantee, so you can look on inside and get your money back if you don't feel like it's for you. So go look at this. Here I'm talking about ISBNs. Go look at that. A lot of people get those Amazon ISBNs and then they're really sorry later. So inside the Writing and Publishing Circle, where this is hosted, I've been using the Circle for a year, and it's been wonderful because there are all these discussion groups that I created. One is for publishing, and this is public, so this is free. And I've got a lot of info here, and you're welcome to post in here as well. I have a Writers Tech Hub, which I have this consumer's guide that I've been trying to keep track of the technologies, products, and services for authors, and it's just blowing up. I'm going to have to hire an assistant to help me keep this up to date. But here is where I talk about like TikTok just left and came right back again, didn't it? It's like, wow, okay. I still wouldn't count on it, right? Like any third-party program. There is a private travel writing group that we meet here. You are welcome to join. We have a Zip It and Write quiet writing time, group time, and I'm happy to set up more times that suit you. Have courses, like I said, the craft of writing a memoir. And now this is the Publishing Compass. So have the Publishing Master Course and the Compass discussion group here. So let me show you inside. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you go in. And Sarah and some of you have already experienced this. There's the lessons can be opened or closed, and you can make comments on the lessons as well, so that it helps me help you, right? If you like this lesson, or if you're like, what has it got to do with anything? So you can navigate here. A lot of these aren't populated yet because the course starts next week. But that first one, Position Your Book for Success, that's what's happening on January 30th at 1:00 PT. Ro, does this GMT work? I got to ask you, because for Australia, January 30th at 9:00 p.m. GMT is Friday for you. Do you know that already, or do I need to specify?
No, that's fine. We're 15 hours ahead of you is basically it.
Yeah.
So I just go, oh, okay. What time is it? What time did you say that
It's
was?
1:00 p.m. Pacific time. But it's 9 p.m. GMT, so that's London. So zero GMT is,
Did you say
London.
1 p.m. ET?
It's 4 p.m. ET, Eastern
4 p.m.
time.
ET?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably a good time for me. Is it around workout? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably a good time. It's early in the morning, but it's a good time. It's when it falls at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning for me. It gets a bit iffy.
Yeah. That's why I didn't do it at 11 o'clock. And I got to tell you, I just love having the different authors from different countries in the program, because there are some different things about uh, publishing, especially in Europe. In Europe, I often recommend, if somebody is publishing to a especially niche audience, and they want to reach Italy and Norway or whatever, I have them use StreetLib instead of Draft to Digital, right? Because it gets into all of those little markets, and everybody has their own thing. And oftentimes in the US, I mean, we're such a diverse culture here. You know, people are writing in Norwegian and French and German. They can actually reach those markets through those outlets, whereas Draft to Digital and Ingram Spark may just not get you there in that language. So I love, I'm very connected with the industry. So David Chesson of Publisher Rocket, he's with Kindlepreneur, has always got great advice. I help him sell his Publisher Rocket program, which is $99 a lifetime, and it's so worth it because you just don't have to search around for, an Amazon and guess. So you can see what the best-selling books are, what they're priced at, what the covers look like, everything. So it makes your research a lot easier. And then Publish Drive, which is it's headquartered in Budapest, but it has the New York offices, has a publishing assistant. When you upload your book, it helps you generate your metadata. And then you don't have to actually distribute with them, right? So you can use it for free. One book is free. They're a different model. If you you're going to sell more than 50 books a month, you should go with Publish Drive, because they just charge a flat fee, and you're going to make more money with them using their flat fee than paying a lot of letting Amazon and Ingram take a lot of royalty. Does that make sense? So it's more, but you have to be sure that you're going to make that money. They also have a Amazon ad generator tool. So this is the kind of thing that I keep track of all the time. And all through the year, I update. Let's see, what else do I want to see here? Choosing your publisher. A lot of you will, kind of want an agent and a publishing deal. So, and even if you're self-publishing, it's a great idea to create a book proposal, just because it is a business plan for your book. My friend Ted Weinstein is a San Francisco agent. He's a nonfiction literary agent. And we often talk about this. And I think I have a couple of recordings of him talking about your book proposal as a business plan for your self-publishing empire, right? So that will be also in the this is module 2, which is 3 weeks away. And this is where I'll talk about choosing, Ingram versus Draft to Digital versus Publish Drive versus StreetLib, and when to use Amazon KDP Select for your ebook launch, because I really like launching your ebook exclusively with Amazon for 90 days. They do, keep you to that 90-day contract. And so all of that. So with that, I'm going to let you look at this on your own. Some of you are already in, and you can also you can go to the Compass discussion group and ask me any questions here. Right, this is your Compass discussion group. So here's the schedule and all that. So once, next week, I expect a lot of questions in here, and I expect a lot of questions, and I hope for questions inside the lesson. Oh, and there's a files area. You know what? This is my only complaint about this platform is these little tiny, teeny icons up here. It's like I think all the developers are under 30, right? It's like, come on, people. Your audience is doesn't have the same eyes that you do. But that's when there's a little file folder icon here, that means that there's a download. This little comments icon, and then this little list icon will list all of the other ones, and then you can just completely close it up and be immersed, and the recording will be published at the top when it's available, so you can go back and revisit it. I think now you can go to this. You can either go to Carla King Publishing Compass or just yourpublishingcompass.com, goes to the same page to see all of the modules and what we're going to talk about for the first 12 weeks. And then it's kind of going to be a free-for-all, because you know what? Stuff happens, and we might go over how to use, I'm sure we're going to go over how to use ChatGPT for book outlining, how to use ChatGPT, or maybe Sarah, you might invest in Perplexity or something if you're helping your authors develop their marketing materials and all that. It's much more expensive, but it could be worth it for you if you're charging your authors for your services, and you should, because the Perplexity will do a lot more. I think Perplexity's back end is OpenAI, the company who makes ChatGPT. So it's just easier and it's more segmented. I don't know if you've looked at it yet. With that, I will take any questions that you have, and I hope I can answer them. And this is about publishing, not the craft of writing. And if you have a publishing question, I can put you in the right direction. Especially, I hope you join us for the memoir group. Ro, you can unmute. I'm planning to publish in Australia. Will the publishing information transfer? Yes. In fact, one of the things that differ in the various countries is that your ISBN agencies are different. In Canada, ISBNs are free. In the US, they're free, but they pay taxes. Okay. So it's with their library, your tax dollars at work, right?
We have to pay for them, but we can't actually, as far as I'm aware, I haven't looked into it in detail, but if we want to put them in a library, or if we want to use them a lot, I don't even know if we want to sell the books, we actually have to have an ISBN. So I was wondering how much of the publishing information will actually transfer to Australia.
Australia and the US, you get your and England, you get your ISBNs from Bowker, and they're $295 US for 10, and you need to purchase 10. When you saw on my webpage before why you need to buy your own ISBNs, I talk about that there. You need 10 because a publisher number is embedded in the 10. In the US, we have an additional step to get into the libraries, and that is registering with our Library of Congress and getting a PCIP account to get an LCCN, a Library of Congress control number, that will then allow us to get a CIP block, which is a block for the librarian. I know it's like, at the librarian, and instead of the librarian having to figure out where your book belongs on the shelf, that CIP block tells them exactly where to put that book on the shelf. And then if you're going to distribute to libraries with many, I mean, the library market is a very good market for both ebooks and print books. You want to create a hardcover version of your book because they're more durable. So stuff like that, there's all these little things, and you can only do that before you publish. So people are like, they publish and they're like, how can I get in the library? It's like, too late, which is a bummer. I mean, they could go to the library and say, here's why. You need to market to the library too. You should go talk to your librarian and your bookstore, your local independent bookstore, and say, here's my book. Here's maybe my cover. Here's the title. Where would you put this? What do you think of this? Right. And hopefully they'll be happy to talk with you. I've never had a bookseller. I've had a bookseller say, come back at 8:30 or, this is our busiest time, but they're all so very helpful.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Jo.
Hi, Jo.
I had a question in terms of the program, the
Publishing Compass program.
Where do people usually have like at least a finished manuscript, first draft? Where do people usually, to get the most out of the program, what do they usually come with?
It varies so much. There are people who have, they've been writing and they haven't put together their book yet. And I have more and more people approaching me at that stage because I've been helping people use AI to outline and organize their book. If it's it's whatever you're comfortable with. I like to say that as soon as you start thinking about a book, look at how to publish, because it will help you focus your energy into the right place by doing the right things at the right time. It gives you energy. You're identifying your tribe, your community. You just benefit more the earlier you enter this world. A lot of business book authors, thought leaders, who want to drum up business, like the Bitcoin guy and Annette Levesque, who I helped her do a book called E-Learning Gold. She was an e-learning pioneer even before COVID happened. And so she has a thought leader book. And so there were, those kind of books are very easy to lay out. You've got your thing that you developed. You've got chapters and headings and segments already out. Laid out. But if you're writing a fiction book, it could be a lot looser. It depends on are you a pantser or a plotter, Jo? Are you writing nonfiction or fiction?
Nonfiction. I do try to be a plotter, but have a lot of pantser qualities, I think.
I hear that a lot. Yeah. Oh, well, nonfiction, is it a memoir or is it a thought leader book or business or a how-to?
It is a memoir. Yes. So the first draft and edit is done, and now just working with an actual editor.
Oh, if you got a first draft, it's time.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is so interesting. What I find interesting about memoir, it's such a wide-ranging genre. It could be like Annette Levesque, a thought leader memoir. Here's how I created my technology and my business, right? It's kind of super easy, rather than a healing memoir where, here's how I dealt with alcoholism or an abusive parent or, all those kind of hard ones. Those can be longer to write because you're writing a draft and then you're going back in and dealing with your emotions, right? And sometimes it takes 6 months to get through that emotional journey. And that's what Linda Joy Myers and I, work through with our memoir craft books, authors. So there's no reason you can't do it at the same time, like be working on craft, working on publishing, working with Christina Stanley at Fictionary on book structure, right? All at the same time. It's, it's joyful work. If it's like what it makes it joyful work. You're not working in isolation.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So it's 1:52, so we have 7 or 8 minutes left. If anybody wants any more questions, or I'm happy to just let you all go and start writing. Catherine, I've seen you before. Hi.
Hi. I have a question about the Google Docs you mentioned last time. You said it was a great thing to work on.
Yes.
I put my first 30 pages on there and then I started editing, but it's going really laggy with the Pro Writing Aid. I'm wondering if it doesn't work well with Pro Writing.
I advocate for Google Docs to share documents. So not necessarily to write your book in Google Docs. Chapter by chapter, yes. So one document per chapter, but it's a good place to work on your book with an editor or co-writer. I almost think, Atticus by Dave Chesson, who I said does Publisher Rocket. He has a product. It used to be $99, but I think now it's $159. It's a browser-based, kind of like I don't know if you know Scrivener or Vellum or all those. It's a browser-based, and so you can write and drag chapters here and there and all of that. I was talking with Kevin Tumlinson. If you just look a couple weeks ago at the podcast where we talk about writing, he uses Atticus. And we were talking about how Scrivener, even though it's kind of gotten dissed by a lot of people in the industry by authors, because it's a little hard to use. I like Scrivener because it lets you, yeah, Joyce, it lets you have a chapter in a folder and then like all your scenes, right? So you've got a scene with a point of view, you've got a scene with a flashback, you got a scene, with the present tense, you got a scene with backstory, right? So you can really keep track in a detailed track when you're working, on your craft. I'm not sure, but I thought they might have hooked it up to a browser, but I can check that. I think it's just a desktop program. One thing that we were also talking about, it's not subscription based. You pay for it. I paid $49.99 for it 10 years ago, and every once in a while I pay $29.99 for the latest update, right? So it's much more affordable and it's much more powerful. And yes, when you're using a powerful program, it is more complex. There are easy to use Scrivener-like programs out there, and you can research those. But I think in my tech area of the writing and publishing circle, I've already probably mentioned those. Does that help? Google Drive. I mean, Google is great. I mean, that's what we use.
I guess the thing that helped was to maybe just save it for sharing. It's just that it messes up my formatting because I'm done. I'm just on the 4th edit, but I'm writing in Word. I wrote it in Word, but when I put it on Google Docs, it messes up all the formatting. So I was like, okay, I'll just try Google Docs then, but no.
Oh, no, that's when you need to use Atticus, because Atticus will export to PDF and ebook formats, and you can create an ARC. And you can also have your editor work right in Atticus with you.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Good, Catherine. Naeem, hi.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question.
Oh,
go ahead.
Sushila, you first, and then Naeem, please.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, what's the average word count of the books that you deal with?
You'll need to do your comparable analysis to see how long the books are that, if you're writing a healing memoir, memoirs are often over 100,000 words. Fiction is often 40 to 60,000 words. Prescriptive nonfiction can be 85,000 words. So that's what we're going to tackle in our first week, which is next Thursday, is how to find the books like yours, how to find the authors like you, looking at every detail about their books, from the word count to the price, to the cover design, to how their author photo looks, to how their covers look, what colors are on their website, or if they're on Blue Sky or Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, all of that. So that is something that you need to dive deep into for the book that you're writing.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And by the way, my screen just blacked out. Is it because the session is ended?
No, I just don't. You must have accidentally turned off your video, because I just see your name and not your face. So you can turn on your video, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
Thanks for the question. On your computer, it should be at the bottom. Okay. Thank you. Naeem.
Okay, sure. Yeah, just following on Sushila's statement, and then back to what I think Carla, I'm sorry, the other lady, Catherine, was talking about. So first, so they had a nonfiction authors conference, the pitches, where some of the agents were saying that these days maybe 100,000 is becoming in maybe a high count for minimum, but I'm sure you're in the industry, you're reading the data and seeing what actually is going on. I was just curious. Sounds like there's a range, and but and then the second question. So one is agents versus data. Where are you getting some of your sources from? I know
agents versus what?
The data of, if I read one place where it says 100,000, I'm not doing a memoir.
Oh, where are you getting it? Well, like I said, my friend Ted Weinstein, he represents very high level, kind of science and, very high profile nonfiction authors. So he tells me. Also, you can just look at the best-selling books, and you can even use Google to say how many words is Eat, Pray, Love, how many words is such and such. So it's pretty easy. I know people try to predict trends, but I always read Brooke Warner, who is just the master of distribution and knowing, the market. She had a post today about, how legacy publishing continues to fail, right? They're only celebrity focused. Agents only want celebrities. Agents only want writers who have a platform. And then they choose things. They'll pay a bunch of money for a celebrity book, but we'll put no marketing behind it. Or they'll just rely on on the person to do the marketing. And that's what's happening in legacy publishing, which is why self and custom and hybrid publishing is so much more popular, because you only get 12% of the book. I mean, a typical advance for an unknown author is $5,000. And then they give you 12% and don't do any marketing. So you might as well just take it into your own hands, and you'll do a much better job. I've got to tell you, I've had a lot of traditionally published authors come to me going, I wish I'd done it. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. So that was that. Because I think you covered Catherine's thing. I was going to ask you about she's in her 4th draft, so nothing else need be said about.
Yeah.
So
Good
you're
job,
saying
Catherine. Woo.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's a way to
I mean,
iterate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your order was Atticus. Okay, write the drafts. Start editing the drafts with your editor. Clean up.
Yeah.
Editor draft, Atticus, and then what else were you saying? I lost the order there.
Well, I mean,
We'll talk about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And you can when you're in the program, so you can put that in the Compass chat, and we can also talk about it during the group coaching. But there are a lot of tools we can use. I also have a post. I put my book into ChatGPT. I uploaded it and I said, I want this to be a best-selling travel adventure book that competes with this book, and this book. I think it's not as fast-paced as these books. What would you suggest? What would the outline be? It came back and it said, chapter 4 and 5 are a little slow, a lot of, musings. You might want to, put those together and pick up the pace and maybe put this chapter here and that chapter there. Do you want me to outline it for you? I'm like, yes. So you can talk to AI like that and ask it to help you with marketing. And so we're going to do that in community and some of our group coaching sessions, so you can see how easy it is. And also I want to help everybody create a custom GPT just for their own book. And you publishing, I'm excited, Sarah, about the Publishing Pros, about creating custom GPTs with everything. I uploaded my self-publishing books to ChatGPT, to create a custom GPT. So when I have an email or, I need to write something, it just grabs it right from my own work, like in my own blog posts and my own books, and writes it for me in my voice, so it's being me. It's cloned me because I've given it so much information. And of course I do massage it after that, but it's pretty amazing and time saving. So AI is incredible. Sushila, like Grammarly is just a spell checker, a grammar checker. ChatGPT is like your writing assistant. It's like having a writing coach. So we're going to go over all of this in the program. And I hope you'll consider it, because the pricing is actually going to save you a ton of money. And you're also going to be writing and publishing in community. And this is a thing that happens in the past. Like in the past 4 or 5 years, I'll teach a publishing course. It'll be very intense over several weeks. And then I don't see you again until the next year. And you're calling me and you're paying me $250 an hour, to help you through stuff. Whereas this just coaches you through in community all year long. So not going to lay you off the hook. Not. You got to come to the coaching. You got to ask the questions. They're going to say, what's happening this week? What's your roadmap looking like? Right. So getting some accountability, right, is just gold. And it's just smiling, happy faces all along when that happens, instead of boo-hoo, I've got stress because Ingram Spark can't publish, give me a print.
But if next week is too soon, are you going to be offering this again a little later?
No, you can join late, but you'll hear the replay. The replays will be there. So if you join in a month, you can just catch the replay of the first class, and you can join the group coaching.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you do join. Like I said before, it's never too soon. All right, everybody. It's been lovely to see your screens on and to get your questions. I'm excited, and I hope to see you in the program next week. And don't hesitate to reach out to me, email me. I'll email you with the replay of this as well. Okay?
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Mwah. Thank you.
Thanks,
Mwah.
Darla.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.